Okay, how to model a fan which will cover features such as loft, polar patterns, booleans, and threading. This is a relatively advanced FreeCAD course, and I'm gonna go pretty fast because I don't like to over-explain stuff. So let's get started. So empty sketch. We then go to part design. We create a body, create a sketch. We will just create a little circle and make sure that it's hovered over this red dot, and it should turn yellow so it snaps to the very center of the 3D space. We will dimension it, let's say 100 millimeter, and that would mean in real life, if you decide to print this, it's going to be pretty small. Anyways, we have now a circle. We would now want to create a datum plane, and since I selected the sketch, it references us right here. We want to, let's say, increase it or raise it 100 millimeter. So we set that, and now it's 100 millimeter above the sketch. From there, we will create another sketch. Make sure it snaps to the very center. Make sure that circle is yellow. And let's set it at 80 millimeter in diameter. So now we have two sketches, one at the bottom, one at the top. We then hold down Control, select both, go to Part, and then we go to Utility to Loft, and then you put both these sketches into the selected profiles, and now you have a kind of like a tapered cylinder, but it's not a solid. It only created the surface of the circles. Easy fix, you just have to go to solid parameter and change it to true, and now it's solid. Alright, let's hide this, and we're gonna now create a the blades for the fan. So let's go to part designs, create a new part, let's create a new sketch. We don't want to reference the other sketch, and let's just name this fan head. Let's call this fan blade. Yes, I don't know why I reviewed that again. Anyways, now we have sketch. We select the, instead of the XY plane, which is flat, we want to select the XZ plane because we want it to extrude to the side. Now we will create the first blade parameter. So it's just going to be a rectangle, and I'm too lazy to dimension it, but let's just say this is 15, and yeah, it's 15 at the bottom too because it's parallel. But blades aren't perfectly flat, and we can't really make it angle because of these vertical constraints, so we just get rid of these. And then let's just kind of like twist it to the side a little bit, like so. And we have our first sketch of the plate, but we're actually gonna make it kind of twist. So we're gonna create another datum plane, and it's referencing a second sketch. Great. Let's make it go out 450 millimeter. So all the way out here. And then we click on that datum plane. We click on the sketch button. We will go here, draw another rectangle. So dimension is 15 like last time. And we want it to be at a more aggressive angle. So let's do that. Make it a little shorter because fans tend to taper off at the end. So something like that. Okay, now we have a second sketch. Let's do one final one. That's the great thing about FreeCAD. You can do multi-planar loft. So let's click on data plane. Let's, instead of 400, let's just set it like maybe 100. I think that's good. And we click on that, click on sketch. Let's make one final rectangle. That's even shorter and at a more aggressive angle. 15. Remove the vertical constraints. Like so. There we go. Alright, that's good. Now we have 3 sketches at different points in space. We will hold down the control key and select all of them. Click on the Loft the profile, and you can see it already shows the blade. And just press OK. And now we have a blade. But fans don't have just one blade, so we're going to do a polar pattern on it, but not on this axis, on the vertical axis. So now it's 2 blades, kind of mirroring each other, polar. But we can do this with just 2 blades, but we can make it 4 blades, or let's set it at 5. Now we have 5 blades, and now we have kind of like a fan. That's great. But we want to create a hole in here, and since it's cutting into, or since the blade is cutting into the center, we're gonna have to get rid of that somehow. So simple enough, we go to part, we just create a primitive cylinder. It's super tiny, as you can see right here, but we can just set that set it at 30, because the top of this taper is 40 or 80 diameter, and 30 in radius is 60, so it's slightly shorter. Set it at like 110. Let's just move it down a little bit like that, and we'll just make another one, and we have to put this one in the fan head body, and that's it. We will use the base feature to do the Boolean. So Boolean, let's do it. Fan blade, and then hold down control, click on the cylinder, and then we click on this button. And now if you notice, I'll turn off the loft. Oh, not this one. Let's turn off the base feature and the loft. You see it cuts itself out. So now we have kind of like an empty space instead of, the blades kind of overlapping each other. And we will do the same thing with the fan head. And we do that, and now we have a fan with a hole. Great. One more thing we need to do is, let's say you want to create a thread for this. So let's not save that. We go to, let's close this. We go to create primitive. We go get a helix. Let's set the pitch at around 10 millimeter. Set the height around 110 millimeter. Radius, it depends on the inner radius, which was 30, but I like to make it like a little less, so 29, not 298, 29.8. And we have now a helix. You can see it right here. It's kind of like overlapping the meshes, but that's fine. We hide that, and we hide the blades. Okay, let's make threads. We will now go to part design, create another body. Whoa, not like that. Create another body, not referencing anything. Create a sketch, and it has to be a sketch that's perpendicular to the starting point of this helix. So right here, so it would be this plane. Press OK, and now let's just draw undimensioned triangle because I am lazy. But relatively speaking, that's all we have to do. Let's just make it somewhat presentable. Now we have a triangle that's basically the beginning of the helix. We go here, let's just turn off the origin visibility. We then go to part, no, not part, it's grayed out because I have to cancel. Let's go to click on the sketch of the triangle, click on sweep, and then click on object, click on the helix, and you got yourself threads. And it's great cross-reference, so it's not doing something outside of the body. And let's just rename this to thread. And now we got a thread. It's gonna show everything. I'm not sure what this is, but we don't really need to worry about that, I guess. But basically, that is the fan. It's a little high, so we can make it shorter. And you know what? The thread is actually kind of spaced apart, so why don't we set it at 5 so now we get a lot more threads. Or, yeah, more thread because of a lower pitch. It's kind of sticking out here. Well, you just kind of move it up a little bit. And then it's going to stick out on the top, but, you know, we can just make it 98 or 95. And there you go. You got yourself threaded fan, but it looks very, you know, sharp at the edges. So let's do one final fix. Let's go to part. Let's just click on the fan and click on the fillet and just click on all, so all the edges are now selected. I think 1mm is good. Actually, it's not. Let's kick it up to maybe 2 point or maybe even 3. And now it's a lot more smooth. And let's do the same thing. Let's just rename this to blade, fan blade. And then with the head, we'll do the same thing. We will click on it, go there, select all. Just do the same radius at 3. And there you go. You got yourself a fan, but it looks. And this is just for presentation purposes, but you can just go to appearance. Let's change it to maybe gold, like when with the demo, or we can set it as chrome. We can also set it in any color you want, but that's basically it. Thanks for watching.